Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Pylon podcast, where we love football and hate your opinions. My name is Donnie Drew, and I'm joined by my co-host, Skylar Burkhart.
Hey guys,
what's
up?
Not even part-time, I guess. Just, I guess, feels like almost every other week. Austin Frizzoco joining us.
I'm back, everybody.
Filling in for the one and only Richie Bradshaw. Hopefully we can have him back on soon.
Miss you, Richie.
I know, we miss you a lot, Richie. So, this episode is brought to you by Statement Games and...
Where you make the statements and they pay for the games. Luckily, last week I won the cigar, so we're actually.
Oh, you won that!
I did win the cigar,
nice.
So I'll actually be gifting that out to our listeners. I'm going to be putting out a we're going to call it a promo code later in the episode, and if you guys message me that, I'll actually send the cigar to you. So be listening for that for your listeners out there.
All right, I'm ready.
This week we're actually going to be doing 2 more games. We're going to do the Ravens and Rams game for the Rams and Chiefs and the Ravens and Bengals. And we're going to be giving away a Starbucks gift card and a Dunkin' Donuts gift card. So be looking out for that. I'll be sending it out tomorrow.
It's free to sign up and you get awesome gift cards. It's not to love.
Free. Yeah, it's completely free. And you play for fun. Just make predictions on the games. The high and low, the over-under, I guess you should say, on different points, statistics, all good stuff like that.
I will say I beat Skylar the week the Packers played the Rams.
Oh, in the statement game contest?
In the statement game
Very
contest,
nice.
I beat him bad.
You got second place, I think. I got tied for third with Logan.
Beat you bad.
Speaking of being beat bad, we saw a lot of beat downs here in Week 10 of the NFL season. We're going to go ahead and run through that really quick. Starting on Thursday Night Football, the Steelers thrashed the Panthers 52-21, 5 in a row for Pittsburgh.
Low-key was surprised to see that.
Yeah, a little bit too. I picked Carolina to win. Yeah,
I picked Carolina to win, but I didn't think that Pittsburgh would drop 50.
Yeah. Saints defeat the Bengals 51-14, enough to fire a defensive coordinator, which I guess is just a cherry on top of an awful Bengals defense.
Yeah, I mean, they were playing great the first, 3-4 weeks of the season?
They were playing great.
Yeah.
And now they've fallen off the face of the earth.
No. Browns get the upset of the week, 28-16 over the Atlanta Falcons. Bears defeat the Lions 34-22. Chiefs, they kind of struggled with the Cardinals there for a little bit, 26-14. Their pass protection just wasn't on par, and Chandler Jones is really getting after them.
He's an animal. Chandler Jones is one of the most underrated edge rushers in the league. Edge players, I should say. He's not even a rusher. He has a bunch of TFLs for in the run game.
Titans beat the Patriots 34-10. Redskins take care of the Buccaneers 16-3. The Bills in a blowout beat the Jets 41-10. I'm thinking
calling that. Remember, I called it. If anyone starts but Nate Peterman, they win the game.
Yeah, true. Colts beat the Jaguars 29-6. Chargers beat the Raiders 20-6. The Rams barely get past the Seahawks 36-31.
Miracle.
Yeah, man, it took another game-winning, not even game-winning drive, game-sealing drive at the end of it to take care of the Seahawks.
No, Russell Wilson, no!
Packers beat the Dolphins 31-12. The Cowboys defeat the Eagles 27-20 on Sunday Night Football, and the Giants with what happened to be a really good Monday Night Football game there for the second half, defeat the 49ers 27-23.
Eli actually looked like an NFL quarterback in that game.
Yeah, our co-host Skylar believes that Nick Mullins might be a starting quarterback in the future moving forward.
I would love to see him on a team like Jacksonville. That would be a place for him to go and take over Bortles' place, or maybe a low-key Bills team even if they need it.
Great guy, just can't really see him doing very much in the league.
I mean, we've only got 2 games out of it. I mean, he could be a system quarterback, like Austin pointed out earlier when we were talking, but I mean, anything's possible with these quarterbacks.
Yeah, I feel like Jimmy Garoppolo looked good in Shanahan's scheme. C.J. Beathard looked good in Shanahan's scheme. Now Nick Mullins comes out and looks good in Shanahan's scheme. There's a correlation there, and it's not the QBs being good because of themselves. It's because of a great offensive-minded coach.
But he is still making good throws. I wanted to point out earlier last week when we made our predictions, Donnie actually called out 2 of the upsets of the week, with the Titans and Patriots, and then with the Browns versus the Falcons.
Yeah, well, both you and Richie agreed with me, so I guess you could say we all hit it on the nail of the head last week.
A lot of people kind of were like, there's no way it's going to happen, but I mean, these Browns teams were bound to win.
Yeah.
I didn't see the Titans beating them that badly, though.
I didn't either.
Oh, not by 24 points.
I remember talking to Richie and Donnie about I said it was going to be a close game, and Tennessee, their defense had to step up, which they did.
It just all depends on which Marcus Mariota is going to set up.
I know. We also pointed that out, too. I think it was you that brought that up, which one we're going to get. And we got the good one finally.
You had Corey Davis emerge out of the shadows finally.
Yeah.
He was a vertical threat. But Tom Brady, is it too early to start talking about what's going on with Tom Brady? He's
if it's before playoff time, yeah, it's too early.
It's 5 straight weeks or 6 straight weeks without 2 touchdown passes or more.
It's a new wide receiver core almost for him with Josh Gordon. It's more chemistry, I guess you should say. And then plus the injuries don't help.
The only new person is Josh Gordon.
Sonny Michel.
Let Gronk get healthy. Let his best weapon get healthy, and then let's get a couple games with Gronk where he's not hurt for an eternity. Then we'll see if we can actually bring those talks. But I feel like
Edelman's new this year.
We've seen this movie every year where Brady goes through some struggles, and we're all like, he's 40. Maybe this is it.
I don't see him going on long stretches of struggle though, and this bad of a struggle. It's not like, he's still putting up 300 yards and 3 TDs and they just lost the game and their defense played poorly. They put up 10 points.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been leaning more on the running game this year, though. If we haven't, we've noticed, they've been running the ball a lot more with Sonny Michel when he's healthy.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Tom Brady last year or the year before would not have stood by a 10-point performance against the Tennessee Titans. Granted, their defense is good.
We don't know what happened in that locker room after that game.
I don't know. I think it's something to definitely keep an eye on because they're not first or second seed in the AFC anymore. Your Steelers jumped them for number 2.
Or is it McDaniels? He could have left for the Colts and he came back, and now maybe the Patriots are regretting it.
Oh, come on. We all know he came back because Bill Belichick said, when I win another one, the job's yours.
Mm-hmm. Exactly why Robert Kraft brought him back.
Yeah.
There's a long-standing history of Kraft's hatred towards the Colts. If you go back and look at things, it's hilarious, man.
Because who was it for 15 years? That was always in the Patriots' way to go to a Super Bowl.
Peyton Manning.
Exactly.
That and the Colts were the ones who started up the whole Spygate thing. Not Spygate thing, Deflategate.
Oh, yeah.
They were the team that got thrashed on in the playoffs that started all of that.
Even though, let's be honest, Deflategate had nothing to do with that thrashing.
No.
Injury roundup going to Week 11. James Conner is expected to practice and clear concussion protocol. He suffered one last Thursday against the Panthers. Stephon Diggs say he will play this week after suffering a rib injury in Week 9. He had a bye week to recoup from that. Kiki, do you love me? Are you riding? Kiki Kuti expects to return after a hamstring injury. Joe Flacco is questionable again this week with a hip injury suffered before the bye week. Julian Edelman's ankle injury is not expected to be serious, so he might be able to play. Sam Darnold is out of his walking boot, but he's still uncertain for Week 12. Jets are currently on bye. Sammy Watkins is expected to be back for Week 11 after suffering a foot injury, and Cooper Kupp has a torn ACL. He is out for this season.
Okay, if Joe Flacco is out this Sunday, that becomes a must-watch game. I think. I want to watch Lamar Jackson off of a bye week, too, to be prepared for this. I would love to see that offense come out and play.
Well, see, I don't think he's quite there in terms of dropping back and being like an NFL caliber quarterback.
No, definitely not.
But this is a must-win game for the Ravens because they're going against the Bengals. They need to win.
They've dropped 3 straight before going into their bye week.
I like Lamar, a young, fast quarterback against an aging defense in Cincinnati. I have a feeling if he wanted to run around and make some plays, it's probably his best opportunity.
I don't know. One of the 2 best defensive ends are also playing in Cincy. So they both just got paid this offseason. So, that's going to be a little difficult, that front.
One injury we didn't get to talk about, though, is Dez Bryant, who suffered a torn Achilles just a few days after signing with the New Orleans Saints. X is up for our man Dez. The Saints went on and signed Brandon Marshall, who also worked out with Dez before they chose to sign Bryant over Marshall.
They actually said they were possibly going to sign both of them.
That would have been great, dude.
Yeah, they were still considering it even until obviously they had to sign when Dez popped.
Technically, they signed them both.
That's true.
That's true. You know, if the Saints win the Super Bowl, Dez Bryant gets a ring.
Really?
Yeah, he's part of the team. He popped it after he signed his contract.
Shame. Regardless, though, Dez Bryant won't be able to play in 2018 after taking just a really long time to kind of settle himself and find the right situation for himself. Yep. Popped his Achilles in the last play of practice.
Ironically, after signing his 1-year deal that he wanted so badly and turned down the $7 million a year, 3-year deal from Baltimore because he was going to get so much more on a 1-year prove-it deal. And now he popped his Achilles, and he'll be lucky to sign for another 1-year deal after that.
So I kind of want to talk about what this means for both the Saints and Dez Bryant moving forward. We talked about Dez first. So like our friend of the podcast, Logan Bell, pointed out whenever I was talking with him, it's hard for a 30-plus-year-old receiver to recover from a torn Achilles, especially whenever Dez hasn't played in, X amount of months. He said he was going to re-sign with the Saints, like this following offseason. He tweeted back at somebody who asked him, and he said, yeah, he was going to re-sign. Do you think there's a lot left in the tank for Bryant?
No.
Especially after this injury?
You see, I don't know, considering reports where he came into practice overweight and out of shape as a receiver who was supposed to be working out all offseason, waiting to get this deal.
Are we talking about Leveon Bell?
Oh, yeah, we're talking about Leveon Bell, 2.0, essentially. I feel like he's already dealing with that. Plus, he's not going to be able to work out at all because of that Achilles injury now. And as a receiver, you got to be able to jump and go get those balls. And Achilles injury is the worst injury you can have to affect your jumping. I feel like if he does get re-signed, he'll be playing not nearly as big of a role as he would have played as he stayed healthy and finished out the year.
We can have a comparison with the NBA where Kobe Bryant tore his Achilles, and we saw the next year there was almost no speed and no jumping ability. It really takes a toll on your body.
That's a completely different sport, though, and that injury. Football, you can come back from a torn Achilles fairly
well,
same.
They're both old, and I was going for the speed is not there. It's hard to come back from Achilles.
But that's because there's so much jumping you do in basketball. You jump every single play.
Oh.
To contest a shot, make the shot. I feel like Dez is going to get back to where he was, but where he was is not nearly where he was in 2015, 2014.
It's going to be less now, especially with his Achilles.
And then moving forward for the Saints, they signed Brandon Marshall. You can definitely tell they're gung-ho on winning a Super Bowl this year.
Yep.
It's very smart of them to realize that their Super Bowl window is now and try to make the most of it. Something interesting, though, Mark Ingram is a free agent after this year. They may or may not have a chance to re-sign him, just depending on how much money Ingram's going to want, or if he wants to play second fiddle to Alvin Kamara again. The Saints, this might be a move for the future, even though they initially inked those for a one-year deal, because you're losing a pretty big piece of that offense with Mark Ingram going down. Do you think Dez would be able to replicate, or even Brandon Marshall if they decide to bring him back? How much of that offense do you think Dez or Brandon Marshall would be able to kind of shape if Ingram were to leave?
Of Ingram's portion, or do we think that he could?
Yeah, schematically, because Sean Payton's one of the smartest coaches in the NFL. There's no doubt the Saints offense would be fine without Mark Ingram. It's just how different would it look. Would Dez Bryant get a lot more looks in the red zone as compared to whenever he played with the Cowboys the last 2 years?
I feel like they would just feed Kamara more because Ingram's great, but Ingram's also a guy who lines up in the backfield. You're not going to line up Dez or Marshall in the backfield, and they're not going to give you the mismatch that Kamara would give you.
Right.
I don't know. I feel like they'd maybe be able to replicate yardage-wise, probably half of it. They could probably, the two of them could get 600 yards receiving.
I don't think they're going to throw the ball more. Drew Brees is a little bit too old to be throwing the ball as much as he used to, and they really love that run game. I think, like you said, they just feed Kamara more.
Well, think about it. In the red zone, Mark Ingram was that guy. Mark Ingram was the guy you can hand the ball off to at the 6-yard line. You can pretty much bank on him to going in.
Well, and now they're giving it to Kamara inside the 5-yard.
Right, which is weird because you don't think of Kamara as just pounded up the middle kind of guy, but he's still able to do that given how agile he's been and how much of a shift he's back that he's shown to be. But no, look at the guy like Brandon Marshall and look at Dez Bryant. What do they have in common?
Big body
They're
receivers.
big body receivers who do what? They can catch passes in the end zone.
Yep, they can get up there too.
So with Mark Ingram being gone, who are you going to throw the ball to?
I mean,
because Michael Thomas can only do so much.
Kamara's a good passing back. They could use him a lot. And even with Ingram gone, they like Dwayne Washington too, their running back. He's 24 and he's 223 pounds. I mean, that kind of fills younger Mark Ingram's role. I mean, we haven't seen a lot on him. I know the Saints are a little bit high on him depending on what they do in this next draft, but that could be their replacement for right now to give a little bit less work to Kamara.
All right. Well, speaking of the Saints, they thrashed the Bengals, hung 51 points up on those boys. Bengals this week fired defensive coordinator Terrell Austin. That didn't last very long at all. The Bengals defense has statistically been one of the worst defenses in the NFL so far. Hugh Jackson was signed this week as a, quote, special assistant coach, and Marvin Lewis said he was going to look forward to him helping out with day-to-day operations on the defensive side of the ball. Austin and Skylar, too, we were talking about this in our group chat. Hugh Jackson doesn't have any defensive experience coaching.
Nope.
None at all.
I thought he did, but then when I went back and looked, I was like, oh, no, there's nothing.
Marvin Lewis doing Marvin Lewis things.
So the Bengals defense, to this point, they rank last in total defense, giving up 454.6 yards per game. Their last in passing defense, giving up 313 yards per game. Second to last in rush defense with 141 yards per game. Second to last in points per game, 32. And they've given up 500 yards of offense the last 3 weeks in a row.
How much of that is penalties from Burton?
Obviously, things needed changing in Cincinnati. It was interesting, though. What's Hugh Jackson going to bring to the Bengals that we don't know about?
On defense? Nothing.
Positivity. He's going to go jump in a lake if they win a game.
Oh, man. But no, I don't know.
Oh, you know what he could do? He could beat the team that he coached and get as many wins as they had in 2 years with them.
Well, that's one thing I wanted to bring up. As bad as the Bengals have been, their season is far from over. They still have a winning record, and they're about 2 games back from the division lead.
And how many games do they have left against Pittsburgh? 1 or 2?
1.
They have 1. Okay.
Yep.
Did they win the first one or no?
The Bengals? No, they lost.
Okay.
Yep. So, second half of the season, they hired Hugh Jackson, who coached
the Browns.
They play the Browns twice.
I knew that.
Yep. So this was almost like a chess move for the Bengals. It's not so much the coaching abilities of Hugh Jackson, but hey, the Bengals, they're still in the thick of things within winning the division. That's not the question at all. The Steelers' schedule is awfully tough moving forward. They get to play the Steelers one more time. The Steelers still have to play teams like the Saints, the Patriots, and, I know we don't really consider them bad anymore, but they have to go to Jacksonville, a team who historically has had the Steelers' number in the past 5 or 10 years. So they're almost hoping that they would be able to win a few games and have the Steelers kind of fall at the same time because, like I said, their schedule is not a cakewalk at all. If they're able to beat the Browns twice, I think I kind of like their chances with how things are shifting up because the Browns are the Browns. They're not winning anything this year. I'm not sold on the Ravens anymore. A month ago, we were talking about their defense is one of the best, since the year 2000.
Yeah, and they fell off the face of the earth and they had no major injuries, did they?
Nope, not at all.
Sad.
Just bad play, but no, I thought it was a decently smart chess move by Marvin Lewis. But one thing I did want to bring up, could Hugh Jackson possibly take over the reins as head coach if Marvin Lewis still leaves after this year?
No.
Huge.
They would say
that would be the most Bengals thing ever.
Go from one side to another?
Go from Marvin Lewis to Hugh Jackson.
Next question, though. Does Hugh Jackson do the Baker Mayfield when they beat the Browns?
Oh, grab his crotch?
Yep.
I would, personally.
He had 3 wins in 2 seasons. He should have been fired after 0-16.
That's a 300% increase from last year.
He should not have had another season.
Oh, man. I know. Numbers don't lie, man. 300%.
Dude, you, me, and Skylar combined, who had 0 wins in the NFL last year, had as many wins as Hugh Jackson did.
It's true. It's very true. I know I need to send the Browns my coaching resume. I went undefeated, and now we're mad in the league last year. So me and Logan, not you. I can't beat you.
Let me in.
No. You don't have PS4. Or you don't have Madden on the PS4. You don't have Madden on the PS4.
Yeah, I'll ask for it for Christmas then.
Don't be one of those kids. Don't be one of those kids that gets their games on Christmas.
Seasons, man.
That's all I got.
But speaking of coaches leaving, now's the time of year where the hot seat either gets really warm or really cold for a lot of coaches around the league. There's some speculation for some guys like Marvin Lewis, like we talked about, and Todd Bowles. Just drop a couple names. So I want to talk about 4 coaches in particular. I listed Hugh Jackson as one. Totally forgot he got fired, so I had to remove him from the list. But she's going to go around.
He's fired again.
Dude, he got fired as a special assistant. Marvin Lewis, stay or go?
I think he stays.
He's got to go.
He has to go, but I think he stays. He has
Trust me.
something.
No. Trust me. I would love for him to stay in Cincinnati.
But, dude, how many losing... He has never won a playoff game
Yeah.
for 16 years. And you're gonna just basically say as an owner, I'm good with being mediocre, not good, but not bad.
Yeah.
But they're playing really good this season as a whole, even though the defense not putting up what they should. If this defense really turns itself around, I mean, that could solidify him to stay.
Well, AJ Green is out for 5 to 6 more weeks,
So that's going to be a
minimum.
big test.
December, I thought.
Really?
Yeah, I saw, I think Adam Schefter.
I might be thinking of the original.
I thought it was
report
3 to
that I saw.
4.
Well, it did happen like 5 weeks ago.
AJ Green?
Or 3 weeks ago.
I was going to say it happened like 2 or 3.
Yeah, but it...
Regardless,
said it's
AJ Green will still miss a big portion of the
Tyler
season.
Boyd.
Well, dude, the Bengals offense looks like garbage without AJ Green.
Well, I mean, that's a double team that now is added to whoever else on the field.
Boyd. And Ross has not stepped up to take that away.
Hey, he got a touchdown last week.
Yeah,
that's all he
catch
did.
for 3 yards
That's all
for a
he did.
touchdown. He needs to step up as a
Joe
first round
Mixon
pick.
needs to put more load on him.
No, your first round pick, John Ross or Jeremy Ross, whatever his name is.
John Ross,
excuse me, needs to step it up.
Oh, yeah, definitely needs to. But, I mean, in that case, you got to run the ball more.
Okay, so why do you think he should stay?
Because it's not entirely his fault. I hate saying it just because if the defense is playing bad, that's not really his fault. He made the choice to fire the defensive coordinator. He's trying to make it better. So this offense has been consistently good, and the Bengals really haven't been statistically playoff contenders. He gets them to the playoffs. Do you really want to risk restarting the whole complete roster now? Or do you want to see if you can build a few more pieces in the offseason and draft and see if you can get over the hump?
Well, why wouldn't you fire a guy like Marvin Lewis and try to bring in a guy like, I don't know, Lincoln Riley, who has previous experience coaching a guy like Joe Mixon
But do you
in college,
really
can
think
work
he
with a
would
guy
pick
like
the
Andy
Bengals?
Dalton, AJ Green?
I think Lincoln Riley's going to go coach the Browns.
And
Really?
there's so many better options than the Bengals. I mean, there's not a great coaching pool this year, so I don't think this would be the right choice for them to do it this year.
Right, but I feel like the Bengals, out of the teams we were going to talk about, I feel like the Bengals are kind of the most, not primed to win now, but, I mean, they're a decently set up team.
Yeah, they're most prepared.
You don't, as a new coach going to the organization, you don't have to go in there and make a lot of changes. You just have to coach better.
Yeah, different scheme.
But a new coach, as we've seen many times, they go in there and they completely change your roster. They'll get rid of players, they'll trade players. It goes insane.
That's just John Gruden.
Yeah, don't be comparing other NFL franchises
We've
to John
seen
Gruden
it.
where he
We've
trades
seen
away
it with
two
the
blue
Bills,
chip
seen it with the
prospects.
Jets. There's every time a new coach comes in, they change a lot.
What did the Jets and what did the Bills change?
Jets picked up a ton of new free agents and got rid of most of the defensive line. Remember Sheldon Richardson and what's his name got?
Muhammad Wilkerson's contract ran out and Sheldon Richardson was traded for a second-round pick.
For the new coach.
It's a very good trade, by the way.
That's a great trade
Yeah.
for...
But I'm just saying,
Jets.
once the new coach came in,
All right, speaking of the Jets, Todd Bowles, stay or go?
stay.
Gone.
He's got to go.
I think he stays.
He's got to
Should
go.
have been fired after that embarrassing loss to the Bills.
Todd Bowles is one of the... Sorry for interrupting you. Todd Bowles is like one of the best defensive minds in football. Whenever he was out here in Arizona as a defensive coordinator, Arizona had one of the best defensive units in the league.
But was it him or was it the players?
No, it was Todd Bowles.
I don't know. I hate talking about the Cardinals, but they had really good pieces on that defense. I feel like they just played to their potential. And Todd Bowles...
But the Jets have good pieces on their defense, too.
Yeah, Jets have...
They've had a lot of injuries, though. I mean, their best corner, Tremaine Johnson, has been hurt a lot of the time.
You're going to be that... But as a head coach, you have to be prepared for any and every situation. They were talking with Jamal Adams, who said they didn't watch any tape at all on Barkley. They did not think he was going to play and thought Josh Allen was going to be the starter. How do you not prepare for that?
And again, how much is it on the head coach?
It's all on the head coach. You're the head coach of the football team. It's on you. Whether it's your coordinators or somebody else, you brought them in. That's on you.
I understand that, but that's when they make changes to the offensive coordinator, defense coordinator, start firing. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm playing devil's advocate here to let you know if GM is involved in it and seeing what's happening, they're going to keep him at this point. If he actually is focused in helping the team and they notice the coordinator's making the mistakes, they're going to make a change in the offseason to the coordinators.
You can't keep on going on. He's been bad the last 2 seasons. There's a reason they had the 6th pick last year.
Like I said, new coach, new roster.
What are you going to say about new coach? This is his 4th year.
a lot of teams can make the quick turnaround. A lot of teams have to rebuild it.
This is his 4th year. He should be performing better.
What wide receiver do they have?
Robbie Anderson?
Who?
Quincy Numa.
Quincy Numa, I could make an argument
You
for.
don't know who Robbie Anderson is?
He's not that great. I mean, he's a tiny little receiver that is a deep threat, but after that, I mean, they need more talent at wide receiver. Darnold's not getting a ton of great looks, and the running backs
Maybe
aren't
if
good
they
either.
didn't trade away all 3 of their second-round picks to get a QB.
I agree with that, but also they don't
He's
have
looked awful
running backs
this year, by
either.
the way.
He looked great the first game, and he just went to poor.
Yeah.
Their O-line isn't about as good as the Cardinals, and they don't really have good running backs. They don't.
But that reflects on Bowles as well, because as a head coach, your job is to assemble talent on that team.
And he
came
gave
in
up
with this
31
team.
points to a guy who literally got signed like 2 days before the game.
We're asking if he's going to stay. I think he stays, and he's going to get more talent in the draft, and we're going to see a change.
He's Rex Ryan. He's Hugh Jackson. He's a guy that should stay as a defensive coordinator. He's not a head coach.
I agree, but I think he still stays this year.
Okay.
I'm done. Okay, go on. Next coach.
If I'm right, I'm going back into
man.
this. I'm going to ream you for
You
it.
already owe me a cocktail.
True. He has both of us one.
Yep.
What was the bet again? I forget.
Byron Leftwich wasn't going to get... You took the out-of-house offensive coordinator for the Cardinals. We took in-house.
Yeah. You said that the Cardinals would go outside of the organization to hire a new offensive coordinator, and 3 days later, Byron Leftwich was promoted, who both of us said would get the job.
Yep.
That takes a
And
risk.
he's actually done fairly well, may I say.
Moving forward, though, this is going to hit close to home with you, Austin. Mike McCarthy. There's a lot of people saying that the McCarthy-Rogers relationship just isn't what it used to be. A lot of people say they're actually clashing heads. You're wearing actually a Green Bay hat and a Green Bay shirt, so I'll just go let you take it away.
Well, I mean, when you're not winning and your offense isn't producing, you're going to clash because they both want to win. I would love to see either side happen. If you're going to fire McCarthy, you've got to bring in somebody who's going to be one to fix everything that's going on. You're not going to bring in somebody who is like a okay hire. You're going to want to go after the best prospect of a coach, which I think we can all agree is going to be Lincoln Riley from Oklahoma for this upcoming coaching change season. However, I think McCarthy, whether they make the playoffs or not, I think he's gone unless he makes the Super Bowl.
Really?
Yep.
If they didn't get Lincoln Riley, who would they replace him?
I don't know what many of the coaches that would be coming up, but
It's just so hard. Who's going to replace all these coaches next year? It's not a great pool. I mean, you'd have to dig for some of these players. I was looking at some stuff on Twitter. It's a really bad list.
sometimes, sometimes change is better, even with a worse candidate, is better than keeping the same candidate that you had that wasn't doing the job.
Like on the list, there was the DB specialist for like Seattle or something. I think it was Seattle.
And
it was
I'm fairly certain a special teams coach got hired as a head coaching job, didn't he?
Yeah, in Arizona.
Steve Wilkes?
Yeah.
He was the D coordinator.
No, sorry, they interviewed him. Yeah.
There's candidates that you're going to see that pop up, but it's going to mainly be offensive coordinators.
The whole like hiring a position coach as like a head coach, it's not like.
Yeah, look at Mike Vrabel.
It's a newer trend.
Look at
it's
Mike
not
Vrabel.
something we've seen in the past.
Well, no, not really, because you'll see like a lot of the head coaches now, they have that experience behind them. They don't jump
They
straight
become
from
a coordinator and then they go to head coach. They don't become head coach right away.
Well, look at Mike Vrabel. He went from linebackers coach to head coach.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
I didn't agree with that hire.
Nope.
But
Look at I'm fairly positive Doug Peterson went from QB coach in Kansas City to head coach of the Eagles. Or maybe like one season as offensive coordinator, if that.
I can't remember. That's a good thing to look up. I can't remember that.
But like I said, I think sometimes change is just necessary.
I think it's time for the Packers to make a change too.
Yeah, you have the best QB arguably in NFL history.
But
yes, I know. Tom
they're going to
Brady
have
and
to
everything.
do their due diligence if they aren't already doing it now for their candidates, because they need to be perfect on this, because you have stocks.
Well, you know he was almost fired at the end of last season, right?
Oh yeah, I remember that. I was listening to the radio and it almost happened. It was like, oh, so close.
He made up, of course this is off reports. You don't know if this is true or not, but apparently they didn't like the chain of command where McCarthy had to report to somebody who reported to Murphy, which was the guy who makes all the decisions. And now it's everybody reports to Murphy, so there's no, well, I told him I needed this type of a deal. So, and they only extended him for this 1 year because of, let's see how you do.
you know what? I'm going to say stay. And I think McCarthy stays. The Packers defense has been improving by the week.
That's Mike Pettine's doing, though. That is 100%.
If we're going to sit here and trash on a guy like Todd Bowles and Marvin Lewis for the defense or offense not performing, we also need to give props for guys for the defense or offense performing. Their head coach has to take credit for the team whether they win or lose. That's just how it goes in the NFL. Is it Mike Pettin? Yeah. A lot of these head coaches have to rely on their defensive and offensive coordinators. That's why Todd Haley got fired whenever Hugh Jackson got canned as well.
Yeah. And look at how Baker Mayfield performed and Nick Chubb.
Nick Chubb. I drafted him and dropped him.
Congrats.
Dummy. Your loss is my game.
It was like 7 weeks of him on the bench. I couldn't take it any longer.
I just think he stays, man. Aaron Jones is healthy again. The Packers look to be giving him the ball a lot more. You still have Aaron Rodgers, the best quarterback to ever throw a football on the face of the planet. Skyler.
I agree.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
But, I mean, you could say that is Rodgers in the offense not clicking because of Rodgers, A, not getting a lot of preseason time, and then going right into a hurt knee, which then doesn't allow him to practice, so he's literally only playing games, and he's finally starting to get back into the groove of things. He looked better against the Dolphins, who have a very good, underrated pass defense.
They do.
And so is it going to be one of those things where it's now because he's starting to finally get back to clicking that the offense starts to click? Or was it just...
Hey, same thing happened to Steelers. Steelers starters didn't play barely at all in the preseason. Came out first 3-4 weeks of the season, looked rusty. Yeah, it was rough to watch.
Well, they're also adjusting to be without Leveon because I would assume a lot of people thought Leveon was going to be back in those doors before the week 1 game.
Yes.
They did not have a game plan for Connor going in there and what to do.
Connor performed very well.
That's just it. I bet they didn't think that Connor was going to be basically Le'Veon Bell is what he's been. You guys, your offense, with him performing how he's been, has not skipped a beat.
True. Actually, if you want to look at the numbers, it's gotten a little bit better, to be honest.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think he's more of a threat because Connor can also stay healthy.
True, so far. But we'll see. This is his first true season as a running back, so, knock it on wood wherever I can find it. But okay, last coach we're going to talk about is John Harbaugh, coach of the Ravens. Stay or go?
I want to say stay. I don't know why they would part with them. I mean, this Ravens team's always been a playoff contender, and like I said, there's no one else. I mean, if Harbaugh left, so like I can see the Packers going after him. I can see any team that needs a new head coach.
How would you like Harbaugh in Green Bay? If McCarthy gets
Jim Harbaugh, I'd love it.
Yeah.
John Harbaugh, I don't know. I am not his biggest fan. He's had, 4 straight seasons not being in the playoffs?
Yep.
I think if he had a different quarterback.
Skyler loves mediocrity but doesn't love somebody who goes to the playoffs every year.
No. I think...
You've said stay on every single one that's been horrible and never been to the playoffs, but McCarthy's like, I'll go.
Well, I was about to say, the argument for me keeping McCarthy is I think he's the best coach out of those 4. He's won a Super Bowl. He's got that underneath his belt.
But he's also got a consistent playoff team.
Right.
Because Harbaugh's got a Super Bowl. Don't forget that.
True, he does.
Harbaugh has a Super Bowl, but what has he done since the Super Bowl? He had, I think, 1 playoff run where he went to the AFC Championship game and lost to the Patriots or the divisional round.
That had to have been a year or 2 right after the Super Bowl run.
Yeah, but like I said, he's been Richie would correct me if he was here. It's been at least 3 seasons where they haven't been in the playoffs.
Yeah, no, the Ravens have a sub-500 record since they've won the Super Bowl in 2012.
But how much do we reflect that on the quarterback? That's another topic to kind of
But it's also on Harbaugh. Everything at the end of the day ends up on the head coach.
Yeah, it all goes on the head coach.
You paid him the money, you have to stick with him. I know it sucks, but...
No, you don't. I want Harbaugh out after year 2.
I would love to see McCarthy get fired. Harbaugh goes to Green Bay, and then Green Bay goes to the playoffs and gets the Super Bowl.
What would Harbaugh do differently than McCarthy, though?
John's a defensive guy, isn't he?
I
know for 100% Jim's an offensive guy.
Yeah,
Jim's
John's
for sure more in the middle. I think he's more conservative, but I think he's better with his players. I get respect out of him because it's like a Bill Belichick room where it's like it's locked tight. They're very close.
You did not just compare Harbaugh to Belichick in that respect.
I meant like how the locker room is really tight.
Where's the door?
It's right there.
All right, I'm leaving.
You want to leave? Okay.
Where have you seen anything in the media where the Ravens players are speaking out, going nuts and crazy?
John Harbaugh, his coaching background is fairly even. He's coached on both sides of the ball. So
okay, so Scott was right there. He was right in the middle.
He's actually coached on all three phases of the football, yeah. Was the special teams coordinator for Cincinnati from 89 to 96.
Oh, wow. That's a long time. Just stay at special teams. I don't know. I mean, I feel like you got to let him go after all the years of mediocrity, and especially if you don't make the playoffs again this year, when you have a defense like theirs is built, like granted they haven't been performing that well, but that
still
defense,
a great defense.
Yeah,
man.
that defense should be consistently a
Their
top 10
focus
defense.
has always been their defense, and then the offense is just let's try to piece it together.
Well, they put a lot of time into that offense this offseason. They brought in 3 receivers. They brought in John Brown, Michael Crabtree, and somebody else. Oh, they drafted Hurst.
Yeah, he's a tight end.
I was like, was it Snead? I thought it was Snead, or was it?
Oh, and they did bring in Willie Snead.
Yeah, they brought in Willie Snead as well. Then try to sign Des Bryant as well. Told him I'll tell you your deal, but you turned that down.
Yeah, like an idiot. And they kept Alex Collins at running back.
And Buck Allen too.
I hate Buck Allen.
Really?
Poacher.
Dude, I like that. I like that dual system.
Yeah.
We
love dual systems here, okay?
Line him up at fullback on the 1 yard line with Alex Collins right behind him, and then give it to him every single time.
You know who's the damn poacher is Drew Brees jumping over the line of scrimmage at the 1 yard line.
That's poaching. That's bull. I remember that game. It was like twice he did it, and I was like, no, stop it, Drew Brees. You're 40. You sit down.
But no, the Ravens, they're such an interesting team to me because they can swing to
Bengals.
Either end of the pendulum.
Just like the Bengals.
They're 1 or 2 players away from being a Super Bowl contender, or they're 1 or 2 players away from being 2-14.
What 2 players do you think it is?
I think C.J. Mosley plays a huge part of that defense.
Dude,
so I think he'd be a big blow if they lost him.
So which 2 positions is it that's holding the Ravens back?
Holding the Ravens back?
From getting to the next level?
Probably running back. They definitely need an upgrade there. I mean, I like Alex Collins, but I don't love him. Right?
I like him.
I love him, though.
I want to see... I think their offensive line isn't playing to what it should be. I think they may need another offensive lineman to help that out. I'm just going to be the elephant in the room. It's got to be quarterback. That's number 1.
Yeah, well, I wrote Richie Bradshaw wrote an article, and it's actually a really good one about how now's the time to start Lamar Jackson. You're probably looking at waving Flacco goodbye after 2018.
Yeah.
Why not see what not Flacco? Why not see what Jackson has?
Well, and now this week they potentially have the perfect excuse.
Yep.
Why not?
All you have to do is tell the team doctor
and see what happens.
All they have to do is go to the team doctor and say, "Hey, don't tell Flacco that we're here. Even if he's good to play, tell him he can't play, and give us this 1 week."
Sure.
Yeah. And then, like I said, I think it's O-line. I think the rest are really good. I mean, that defense is studly. Their tight end's good. The wide receivers are solid. I think it's got to be O-line and quarterback.
All right. Harbaugh, stay or go? I say he has to stay.
Bye.
Skyler?
I
could lean either way on this. It's so rough. All the controversy that's going about, I think he stays. I'm just going to say he stays.
All right, staying within the AFC North Division, Le'Veon Bell did not report by the 4 p.m. Eastern deadline.
Surprise.
Yeah, right. He's now ineligible to play for the rest of 2018. We may have seen the last of him in a Pittsburgh Steelers uniform.
Or period.
Yeah, true. He said if he doesn't get the money he wants, he's not afraid to retire.
Speaking from a business standpoint, he made the worst decision he possibly could have made.
Yes, and I think his agent really handicapped him this year.
I think his agent told him, sit out and you're going to get more money. And I don't think his agent realizes what that running back market is like. I think it's Tyrann Mathieu 2.0.
Really?
Well, look what happened. His agent sat there telling him, oh, you don't want to stay with Arizona. Your $20 million that you're going to get this season is nothing compared to what you'll get in the offseason. And he got $7 million or $9 million for the Texans.
I was about to say Matthew tried to turn it into a prove it kind of deal, but we all knew that there's no market for safeties.
Nope.
Yeah, the Cardinals even offered him to lower his base salary down to $15 million, just to make it understandable from a book standpoint. And he said, "No, I'm going to get more money elsewhere." I think it's the exact same thing that's going to happen. He could have easily showed up week 1 and told Tomlin or whoever, I'm getting no more than 15 touches a game. You put me in for more than 15, I will sit on the bench. And then you can suspend me or whatever, but I'll still get paid. Or he could have easily went in there week 1, been sprinting into the end zone. Oh, my hammy! Oh,
well, that was a conspiracy going around Pittsburgh that Leveon would show up before the deadline and then show up first week of practice and have this weird phantom injury that would keep him out for the rest of the season.
Like a Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
And that's why I say, business-wise, he made a horrible decision.
Listen, I will forever support athletes trying to get the most money they can while they can because their careers are so short compared to our careers and our
especially a running back.
Yes, and where their value is so depreciative after the age of 30. Whether or not they sit out a couple years or whether they're the best back in the league.
Worst thing.
Well, my thing is that you took a year off. Congrats. You're still aging. You're still getting close to that 30-year-old market.
Do we really know if he's working out? I mean, all we see from him is he's just having fun.
Listen, man. On that jet ski, he looked kind of thick. Thick with 2 C's. Thick.
I didn't see this.
He didn't look like he was in football shape.
So that's what I mean. I mean, teams are going to see that, and that lowers his market just by seeing them. Oh, how much are you really in shape? Are you really committed to football? What's going on?
Well, think about his image now, too. His image is tarnished, especially after the Steelers came out and called him out like they did publicly. You're going to be an NFL owner or an NFL GM, and you're going to be like, I want to pay you X amount of money, but I have to offer you less now because I don't know if you're going to be a team player.
Well, just we'll break it up kind of like we did with Des Bryant. We'll go for team and then 2 player. For the Steelers, I think this is probably best case scenario. You don't need any more drama in that locker room heading into the playoffs. And while a 2-headed monster running back system between Connor and Bell would have been phenomenal to watch and phenomenal to see. Go ahead.
There is one issue that we're not talking about. They are going to apply the transition tag next year.
That's not been confirmed.
I saw that's what they're planning on. The Steelers have told, I forget who reported it, and they said they're going to apply the transition tag unless a grievance is filed. Then they're going to go to court.
Well, from this year, well, there's no
way they can file a grievance. What's the grievance for?
There's no.
I've seen
is it arbitration? Yeah, that's the right term for it. There's no arbitration in football.
It was something that the NFL Player Association would file because they're just holding him from going from doing.
They're not holding him from anything. He chose not to sign.
I know. And then they're going to apply the transition tag next year and hold on to him more. So
they wouldn't. Transition tag wouldn't hold on to him. It just gives them first right of refusal for any offer that he gets.
But his max is 15. His cap would be 15. So it's
no, he wouldn't. He wouldn't get a cap. Transition tag.
Well, that's how much you get paid.
Okay,
No,
Jason Lockenfora said, as I have been reporting, so is prepared to apply transition tag to Bell in 2019.
That's who it was.
Jason Lockenfora cannot be any wrong any day of the week. Jason Lockenfora has the most inaccurate reporting of anybody I've ever seen.
Tell him how you feel, Donnie.
I will. Dude, he's been garbage. Nobody takes him seriously.
All right.
Dude, that blue check mark he has doesn't mean shit.
True.
It's still something to consider. It's still one thing to say they could do that. I mean, do the Steelers want to have that drama again? But do they want to see if they can get value for him? I mean, that's the only thing they can do.
So the grievance you're talking about would be the price tag of the tags. Because he didn't sign this year, so therefore the Steelers can reapply that same transition tag again next year. So that franchise tag would still be worth $14.5 million next year as it would this year. Mm-hmm. Where the NFLPA would try to file a grievance would be with the actual league itself to try to get Leveon more money on the tag next year.
There you go.
Right, which would jump that number to $25 million because it'd be top 5 salaries averaged out. And I just want to clarify, transition tag has no dollar amount on it. It just means the Steelers have first right of refusal. The Steelers can then match any deal that Le'Veon Bell would accept. It's just like when the Packers tried to offer on Kyle Fuller of the Bears. They get basically, once they agrees to terms on a contract, the Steelers then have 7 days to match that. Should the Steelers choose to not match it, Bell goes on.
Also, the Steelers won't get a comp pick with the transition tag.
I don't think they care about a comp pick at this point.
No, but I'm just saying, if Lockenfora happens to be right on this blue moon that I don't see anywhere, the Steelers wouldn't be able to get a comp pick. Just like you said, they would only get the first right to match whatever offer he gets.
That would be so cruddy if all of a sudden they match the offer. Like, say it was some lowball offer, that someone gave them. They're like, all right, and they just matched it, and they kept Le'Veon Bell.
Well, Le'Veon has to agree to the terms. It's not
Right.
the Steelers agree to the contract.
See, that's the crazy
Le'Veon
part.
has to agree to it.
That's the part that's kind of been like forgotten. All
That's
this.
the only offer. That'd be crazy. Then we'd just start more drama.
And little be known, there's no way that teams can do like because back in the day, teams that had like a massive amount of cap space, when you didn't see teams with 40, 50 million in cap, you saw teams with 20 million as a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You would see teams that would be like, oh, and in year 2 or the first year up front, we give you the 10 million up front, so teams couldn't match it because of like an absurd number. You can't do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, Donnie, can you help me out here? What was the reported figures that Bell was given by the Steelers on the final offer?
Which year? 2017 to 2018.
The most recent one that
most recent one was a 5-year, $70 million deal that would have paid him out $45 million in the first 3 years.
Guaranteed?
No, there was only, I believe, $33 million.
Any one more guaranteed.
And I think that's where Le'Veon Bell's discrepancy is he
was absolutely guaranteed money. There were some reports that the Steelers only offered him.
Most likely.
There were some reports that the Steelers only offered him $10 million in guarantees, but that wasn't true at all.
Yeah, I think Bell's just going for the guaranteed money. And I honestly, with all the stuff that he's pulled, I don't know if a team can give him that $33 million, because what happens if he says, okay, I played that 1 year and now I'm done?
Or gets injured.
Yep. So he's seeking $17 million a year. I'm just reading off my tweets that I tweeted earlier. $45 million within the first 3 seasons, $33 million guaranteed. That would have been paid out the first 2 years of the deal. Okay. First 2 years of the deal for $33 million guaranteed. 2017's offer, there wasn't a lot of details on it, but the little that was leaked out about it was $42 million over the first 3 years and $13.3 annually. Now, I want to bring this up as well. The running back market, you've alluded to this before. What's it going to be like? 2 guys that are similar to comparisons to Le'Veon Bell, David Johnson and Todd Gurley. Guess who got paid in 2018? David Johnson, Todd Gurley. Okay. So Le'Veon he said he wanted about $45 million guaranteed and he wanted $17 million annually. David Johnson got a 3-year, $39 million deal. 32 of it was guaranteed and $13 million going to be paid out to him annually. Gurley got a 4-year, $57 million deal with $45 million guaranteed. That's the money Bell was looking for, but he's only making $14.4 million annually.
Right. And that's where
both of those guys are younger than him. You can argue
David Johnson is roughly the same age.
Still younger. By a couple months. Don't remember.
By a couple months.
Todd Gurley, though, significantly younger.
Yes, and you can argue those guys, at least Todd Gurley has the better numbers than Le'Veon Bell does, and their injury history is, at worst, comparable between Johnson and Gurley. Gurley tore his ACL coming out of college, but he hasn't been, dinged up at all.
No, I don't think he's missed any games in the
hasn't.
NFL. And David Johnson, only reason he missed time was because he went back in with a dislocated wrist.
Yeah.
And he hasn't been hurt since.
I think is that these top 2 guys, and running backs are so interchangeable whenever it comes to actual play and going and trying to make a top 5 list. You take these guys who have the same pedigree as Le'Veon Bell, and those numbers aren't matching up to what he wants. So I don't know if I'm missing something that Le'Veon and his agencies that I don't, but I just don't think there's a market for him like this.
Think about it this way, though, also. Le'Veon Bell has, like you said, more of an injury history than the 2 of them.
He has off-the-field issues.
Off-the-field issues where he's been suspended multiple times?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, he's had multiple suspensions, and he's closer to 30 than the other 2 backs. Gun to my head, I would take Todd Gurley over them any day of the week, no questions asked. But the biggest thing to look at is you have a Steelers offense that was, quote-unquote, the 3 Bs, which was Bell, Brown, and Ben.
Killer bees, yep.
Yep, the 3 killer bees. And you have Bell leave, and your offense doesn't even skip a beat.
I was about to say, that's what's got to be hurting him the most.
And not only that, it's not like these last couple of drafts and the next couple of drafts coming up have bad running back talent. No. And it's not like these are one-trick pony type of running backs. It's a new age where pretty much every college back coming out can catch the football.
Yeah.
So I think Le'Veon Bell and his agency are definitely playing towards the money, but I don't know if the money will ever be there that they think that they can get.
Yeah, it's definitely a situation to monitor. It's crazy seeing the impact that James Conner's had. It's almost like he's hurting Le'Veon Bell without intentionally doing so.
Oh, he definitely has hurt Le'Veon Bell. Because the NFL GM is going to say, well, why do I want to go and sign Bell for $15 million when I can go and get somebody in the second, third round of the NFL draft that could be just as good, but is only $900,000.
Yeah. All right, moving to Week 11 of the NFL season. Thursday Night Football coming up. The Packers and the Seahawks, 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time on Fox. Austin, your Packers are taking on Seattle in Seattle. Who you got?
Yep. Well, I think this is going to be a game that's going to go right down the wire. I think it's going to be a shootout. I think short weeks for both teams. Thursday Night Football generally doesn't lead to good defense. It leads to a lot better of an offense. And I think in this case, the better offense wins. So I can go to Green Bay.
Skyler?
Seattle. I watched a lot of Seattle football this year. I've talked to John that writes for Seattle, and let's just say the Seattle team looks better, and I think they're going to put it together and beat the Packers. They're going to run the ball. They beat the snot out of us by running the ball out. They're going to do the same thing to the Packers. Russell Wilson's a Packer killer.
I have the Seahawks winning on a last-second Hail Mary. Bengals take on the Ravens.
Are you serious?
What?
You think the Seahawks are going to win in the last second Hail Mary?
Yeah. No. I'll take the Packers on a short week with Aaron Rodgers. Bengals travel to Baltimore to take on the Ravens, and what's actually a pretty decently heavy divisional game. I'll take the Ravens.
I think the Ravens win.
Yeah.
Bengals.
I think the bye week will prove very pitiful.
I think
Bengals need to win this to keep their playoff hopes alive, so I think they're going to pull it out.
Cowboys take on the Falcons, and what actually should be a decent game, hopefully.
Cowboys at Falcons?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be a good game.
Give me the Falcons just because I trust Matt Ryan more than I do Dak Prescott.
Yeah, I'll take Atlanta's offense over Dallas's.
Well,
as bad as their defense
do you know how bad their defense? I heard a statistic today.
Let's hear it.
Outside of week 1 or week 2, outside of 1 week in this season, they've given up at least 300 yards passing or 3 passing touchdowns.
Really?
Yep, I will take the Cowboys.
Yeah, but it's Dak Prescott.
Julio's getting on a roll, guys. Julio's starting to get on a roll.
Yeah, scoring touchdowns.
They've also given up the most rushing yards to quarterbacks this season, so give me Dallas.
Okay. Buccaneers take on the new and improved Giants. They're 1-0.
That is a rough pick.
I'll take the Buccaneers.
You think the Buccaneers?
Yeah, man. With magic, baby.
Is it Fitz starting again this week?
I think so, yeah. I think it's Fitz magic.
I think Fitz pulls. I think Fitz is going to get you. I want to say Bucks.
I'm going with the Giants. I think the Eli Manning gets another win.
Steelers take on the Jaguars, and I'm so mad this got flexed out of Sunday Night Football. So mad.
You going to say that if the Jaguars show up?
Which they will. Knowing history, they definitely will. I'll take the Steelers.
I'll take the Steelers.
Give me the Steelers. Jaguars.
Dude, Jaguars should look awful.
But Fournette is back, and they looked a little bit better with him back.
They couldn't even sack Andrew Luck on the Colts.
I mean,
Saxonville.
They're the top 5 offensive line.
Saxonville could not get a sack on the Colts.
Texans at Redskins. That's actually a pretty intriguing matchup. I'll take Houston.
The Texans.
I want Houston as well. I think
Demaryius Thomas is going to play a big role in this week.
I think Hopkins plays a big role.
Thomas is going to open that up for him, if anything, because he's going to draw more coverage. He's going to take it off of Hopkins. It's not like Will Fuller. I mean, you have to really take in consideration for Thomas because he can do it all.
Oh, just wait till Will Fuller comes back in that offense next year.
Ooh.
Titans at Colts.
This is a tough one.
Yeah, I'll take the Colts at home, though.
I'm going to go with the Titans. That defense is playing good. I'm going to go with them.
Again, which Mariota are we getting?
Bad defense with the Colts. You're going to get good Mariota.
The Colts defense isn't terrible, but Andrew Luck's been on fire. If Maryland Mack plays good, but...
This is the 3rd week in a row you said Maryland Mack.
Dude, what the heck?
No, I'm sorry. Marlon Mack.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm going to go with the Colts.
He's on your fantasy team.
I know, I'm terrible at it, but...
You should just drop him. Actually, just gift him to me.
No. But I'm going to take the Colts. I think Andrew Luck keeps hot.
Panthers at Lions to round out the 1 o'clock slot.
Easy, Panthers.
Yeah, Detroit, dude, they really miss Golden Tate, man.
No. It's not Golden Tate. It's their offensive line. Do you not see how many sacks they give up a game?
And their defensive line. Man. Their defensive line hasn't played well outside of against Green Bay, of all teams.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know how Stafford knows which way to look. He gets hit literally every play. I'm definitely going to take the Panthers.
Man, friend of the podcast, Logan Bell, has a very unpopular opinion about Matt Stafford that I agree with.
How he's overrated?
Yeah, I agree with him.
All right. The 4:05 Eastern time slot games. We're going to go Broncos at Chargers.
Well, that's a good game.
Chargers are hot, man. I'll roll with them.
Chargers
too.
I'll roll with them in that 28,000 seat soccer stadium they're playing in.
Almost lost the Raiders. Raiders
20-6, dude.
Yeah, they won by 14.
No. I watched the first half of that game. Raiders went for it on fourth down at the goal line 3 times and didn't score. They could have kicked a field goal and kept it close.
They also went for a fake punt that ran for a 58-yard run.
Yeah. I don't know what
they pulled everything out of the hat that week.
They are looking to lose, it seems like. Because why would you go on fourth down every time you go to the goal line and you don't get anything? At least kick a field goal and keep the game close. It didn't make sense to me.
Raiders at Cardinals.
Do I have to pick?
Oh, this is
unfortunately
easy. Dude,
Cardinals.
This is an easy one. This is the Cardinals.
Yeah, Cardinals at home.
Stop being biased.
Upset of the week's going to be Raiders.
All right. Heard it here first. Eagles travel to the Superdome to take on the New Orleans Saints.
Give me the Saints pounding the Eagles.
I'm actually going to go with the Eagles. I think they're going to bounce back.
Well, it's okay to be wrong.
As I was saying, Donnie, I think they're going to bounce back. This is going to be a team that the Saints are going to overlook just slightly, and I think the Eagles are going to have that underdog mentality again.
So that's your upset of the week?
I was saying, Donnie, Eagles.
All right. Vikings take on the Bears on Sunday Night Football.
I'll take the Vikings.
I'll take the Bears at home.
This is going to be a good game. This is going to be a really exciting game to watch. I really like Thielen, but this Bears defense is really good. If this Bears offense has to perform. And we've seen it very consistent where they play good some games and they don't show up other games. I think Vikings get their defense together and they play better. I think Vikings pull off in a close game.
Yeah, I agree. I go with Vikings.
All right, and then the one game we're all looking forward to, the Chiefs and the Rams, the potential Super Bowl matchup, probably the biggest matchup of the year so far.
Only the fourth time since 1990 that only one loss or better teams have faced off against each other in week 9 or later.
The Rams actually have a chance to clinch the division crown this week.
With some help from the Packers, but apparently Skyler doesn't think that's going to happen.
It's all good. They would be, I think, the only team besides the 85 Bears to clinch a division title this early into the season. We're supposed to play in Mexico City.
It's week 11, though, already.
It is.
We are going to L.A.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw the turf.
Oh, it looked horrible.
Mexico City looked awful.
It was like black.
It looks terrible, dude.
And I was talking to somebody who has knowledge of how the NFL does it across the season. Apparently, the NFL brings in like 2 weeks early the turf because they have to have some sort of a special mix of grass and turf to be able to optimize it for the players. So I'm surprised that it looked like that when they're supposed to bring in the turf.
What happened?
They said it was rainy season and other events tore it up.
The cartel probably.
Dude, it looked like I think they might have had a soccer game played on it when it was
probably
really,
it was in the Stadio
really
Azteca. I wouldn't doubt there's a soccer game played there.
Fun fact: you guys know that soccer is not the most popular sport in Mexico?
Really? What is
American football?
Really?
Like 35%.
That's interesting, man.
Cool. I did a report on it in college.
I might have started with basketball over football for picking American sports.
It was American football and a landslide.
Really? Interesting.
That's insane.
Soccer was number 2. I think at like 18% or some shit.
Back to Monday Night Football. The game got relocated to the Coliseum in LA. Chiefs at Rams. Who you got?
Chiefs in a blowout.
That ain't funny. I've been going back and forth on this all year. I said before the season started, the Rams would lose 2 games.
Yeah.
And I said it was the Vikings and Packers, and I was wrong. It turned out to be the Saints, which I was also worried about. Chiefs I wasn't worried about, but as I started watching them throughout the season, I'm worried.
Should have lost to the Packers.
No. But I've been thinking about this all week. I'm going to say Rams in a close one, and their defense has to play. I mean, Peters has got to play the best always played because this is a dangerous
offense. You need your
offense.
offense to score 40 like Tom Brady did. That's the only way you're winning.
They have the ability to do that. I'm not worried about our offense. It's our defense I'm worried about.
Tyreek Hill is going to go for 150 and 2 touchdowns.
But he's also playing against probably one of the best pass rushes that Mahomes is going to play against. I mean, Aaron Donald, Dominican Sue, Fowler. I mean, that's a rush to be coming after him every play.
Ndamukong Suh hasn't done much all season, and Dante Fowler is one of the hottest and coldest players you could have on a defense, along with Marcus Peters.
You have two, and also you have Brockers. I mean, that's three guys that are taking up double teams.
Brockers hasn't done much all season either.
They help.
I'd say, if anything, what's that guy, that edge rusher you have? Littleton?
Littleton is a linebacker. He's
an edge rusher.
I know who you're talking about. It starts with a J.
Littleton is the guy. Littleton is probably the next best edge rusher you have.
He's not an edge rusher.
Currently.
He's a linebacker. He's not our edge rusher. He plays all over, but he's not our edge rusher.
Does he line up on outside linebacker ever?
Sometimes.
Okay, then. He is your best edge rusher outside of Aaron Donald being your interior rusher.
I watched him at training camp. He's not our...
You sat there telling me when we watched the game that Littleton is so good and he kept your pass rush so great because you didn't have an edge rusher.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
I did not say that. I said he's good in pass coverage.
No.
Yes.
No. You said this when he sacked Aaron Rodgers.
No.
Can you come on every week? Just so I can get
Gladly will come on every week.
So, Rams, it's going to be a close game. I think Rams pulling off.
Okay, hold on. We're not done with the subject. How are you going to cover Tyreek Hill?
That's why I said Peters has to play his best game. That's why
I didn't say Peters having his best game. How is Peters going to cover him when Peters couldn't cover Devontae Adams, couldn't cover Michael Thomas? How is he going to cover Tyreek Hill?
Safety help.
Okay, but that safety help is not going to be able to play underneath all the time.
You'd be playing over top.
But when Tyreek Hill takes a slant route and absolutely scorches Marcus Peters.
Wade Phillips is going to play more zone this game just to make sure you keep everything underneath.
How many yards is Tyreek going to have?
He's hot and cold, and this defense is not letting big numbers go. I don't think he goes Michael Thomas on us.
No, I'm not. I wouldn't bet that either. That 200 is rare.
I'm going to say, let's say 105. 105 yards receiving.
You want to double up that cocktail bet for that?
No.
So you're not confident at all?
No, because this defense hot and cold. I'm not confident at all. My defense can either show up or they can literally blow it out.
You heard it here, PTP podcast. Tyreek Hill's going for $150.
No,
and 2 tuggies from Austin.
Oh, for me, I thought you told me. I was like, no, I said 105.
I'm not telling you. I'm telling our listeners.
I think it's I think Travis Kelce plays a bigger role this game.
I think, if anything, Travis Kelce is going to be more limited because...
Littleton?
No, who's your defensive coordinator again?
Wade Phillips.
Wade Phillips. I think Wade Phillips is going to take him away because it's much easier to take away a tight end that lines up in line or in the slot than it is to take away arguably the fastest player the NFL has ever seen.
Littleton plays really good defense at linebacker for tight end, so I would have them focus on Tyreek Hill more. Sammy Watkins, they know him in and out, so they know how to cover him.
Yeah, because they gave up a second-round pick for absolutely nothing.
Yep. I cried myself to sleep that night.
Can I pick?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I'm sorry.
That's me. I've been on the Mahomes hype train before the season, so I'm going to roll with it. Patty Ice, don't fail me now. I'll take the Chiefs.
Okay, hold on. Donnie, how many yards is Tyreek Hill getting this week?
Oh, man.
Over under 105.
I'll take the over.
Thank you.
I'll take the over. I don't know about the 2 touchdowns, but I'll take the over on the yardage.
I think he scorches Peters for a long touchdown. I think he gets one on the goal line. Off of a jet sweep or something.
All right, good deal. Well, speaking of Tyreek Hill, fantasy football, it's about that time, isn't it, to go over our start sleepers. And a special request this week, we got asked to do a couple waiver wire picks. So we're going to go around the room, do 1 start, 1 sit, 1 sleeper. Who wants to take it away first?
I'll take a sleeper pick first.
How about a start?
Oh, start pick? You want me to?
Yeah. give me
Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, give me somebody who should start.
Shut up.
Come on. No, don't do that.
What?
Don't do that.
What?
Don't be that guy. I think you start Alvin Kamara. Thanks. NFL Network every Sunday.
Fine. Would you say Jimmy Graham's an overstatement then?
No, not at all.
All right, I say Jimmy Graham. KJ Wright's out for the Seahawks. Bobby Wagner's going to have to man that defense. I think Jimmy Graham can eat while they try to take away Devontae.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill starting in 99% of ESPN leagues.
As he should be.
All right.
Whoever that 1% is that is not starting him, shame on you.
All right, Skyler?
I'm going to say Deshaun Watson, the quarterback. I mean, he's been a good fantasy quarterback most of the year, but going against Washington, one of the better defenses, they're going to lean on Deshaun Watson, throw the ball to Hopkins and Thomas. I think he's going to have a big game this week.
All right, I'm going to go Sterling Shepard versus Tampa Bay. Buccaneers' pass defense has been absolutely atrocious. I think Eli's starting to get his groove back a little bit. Sterling Shepard's definitely been hot or cold, but in the game where the Giants are definitely going to have to air it out to keep up with the Bucs, I like Sterling Shepard a lot.
I can dig that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. One sit for the listeners at home. All right, I'll go first. Jordan Howard versus the Minnesota Vikings defense.
Oh, that's an easy sit, though.
No, it's not.
Dude, Howard has been hot and cold all season.
I saw an article out that, what's his name? Tariq Cohen is actually the better fantasy option than Howard now.
He definitely is. That's why I have him.
Yeah,
Howard's starting in 70% of ESPN leagues. 7 out of 10 people are starting him.
That's a lot.
That is.
A guy who's
that
not
is
even
a lot.
getting the... He gets the bulk amount of carries, but he gets no targets.
Right.
Whatsoever.
Yeah, he's playing against a really tough Minnesota front. I don't think the Bears have the what's the right term for it? The run first mentality to want to continually pound the front seven of the Vikings. I think they're going to look and turn to Tariq Cohen more often, try to get some action with him out of the pass. I'm not a big fan of Howard this week.
All right, my sleep, Donnie, you're not going to like this, is Juju. Smith-Schuster. I think Jacksonville's defense is... I believe Boye is coming back this week.
Is it?
Well, whether he does or does not, he's the outside guy. I feel like he's going to get locked up by either Ramsey or if Boye plays, I think he's going to have a tough week.
Well, Juju plays in the slot a lot.
I thought he was the outside guy. I thought he took over Martavis' role.
No, they still line Juju up in the slot. They do a really good job of interchanging, like Antonio Brown and Juju in the slot, but mostly they'll have a guy like James Washington play outside. They'll have him lined up in the slot.
I love him. But no, I'll still take the sit on him with that linebacking core.
That's fine. I understand that.
Lamar Miller, I'm going to sit him this week going against a really good Washington defense.
So you're going to start Watson and sit Lamar Miller because of a
against
good
really
defense.
good defense.
Okay.
No, they're going to. I said they're going to lean on Watson more to pass this game. The run defense for Redskins is really good. I don't think they're going to lean on Miller much this game.
One sleeper this week.
Sleeper and my waiver wire ad of the week, Dak Prescott.
Really?
Because of what I said earlier with the Falcons defense.
Yeah. Skyler?
Cortland Sutton. I mean, it's about time he puts up big numbers going against the Chargers, which are kind of in the middle of their pass defense. I think he puts up a good game this week for a nice sleeper pick.
I like that.
Okay, my sleeper is going to be Vance McDonald versus the Jaguars. In the playoff game, he caught 11 balls for over 100 yards. Ben's really been leaning on his tight ends lately, so McDonald has done historically well the last couple of weeks.
Would you say Jesse James another sleeper? Would you?
No, Jesse James just hasn't logged the snaps needed to kind of put him in.
Is that because McDonald's just outperforming him?
Yeah. McDonald has taken the complete control of the tight end room for Pittsburgh. So.
That's kind of surprising because Jesse James last year looked really good.
Yeah, I know. I've always been really high on Jesse James, both from a football standpoint and a fantasy football standpoint. But no, the only problem with McDonald coming to Pittsburgh is that he dropped a lot of footballs, but he's kind of he's shown that he can catch the football. What he could do is everybody saw him Monday Night Football when he sent Chris Conte all the way to the bottom layers of hell. All right, give me one waiver wire pickup.
Theoretic for the Detroit Lions. For whatever reason, they like to pass in the ball a lot and don't let him run. And he's going against the Bears defense. They're going to be passing a lot just to kind of keep Stafford on his feet and literally just do quick passes, give it out to the running back. Theo Riddick.
But who are they playing this week?
Who are they playing?
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. The Carolina Panthers. They're going to be throwing a lot to him. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. You know we love giving you a hard time.
I know you do. But, yeah, going against Carolina, regardless, they still have a good pass rush. And they've given up a lot of points to passing backs. I think Theo Riddick has a big game as a nice waiver wire pickup as well.
See, I love Kerryon Johnson, but I already gave one waiver wire pickup with Dak Prescott, but I'm going to go ahead and give you another one. Josh Adams, I believe is his name, out of Philadelphia, the running back. That was getting a lot of snaps on Sunday night.
Yes.
He's outrushed in terms of rushing attempts and rushing yards the rest of the Eagles' backfield the last 2 weeks. So I would target him. He's available in, I think Matthew Berry said today, 94% of leagues.
Oh.
94?
94%.
Yeah.
People are really hopeful.
Yeah, 94%.
So if you're in a deep league,
You're very hopeful for this.
That 18-man league life It's got to be rough.
Yeah, that would be horrible.
So I actually have 2 waiver wire pickups. Sorry to interrupt you. I feel like I always do. This is actually a special request from one of our listeners to list wide receivers since one of his pickups, Cooper Kupp, is out for the year with torn ACL. I said Nelson Aguilar. Yeah, I said Nelson Aguilar. Golden Tate still looks to be learning the playbook, and I don't think they're going to be leaning on him. So I think with Alshon Jeffrey, John the assignment to Marshawn Lattimore, Aguilar could be in for another potential day. And then I also got Chris Godwin. I think it's time to kind of for him to get back in the end zone. He's been pretty consistent this year, but it's time for him to get back, like I said.
Big waiver wire pickup. I was reading about this and actually got excited. Anthony Miller for Chicago Bears. His last couple games been good. 3 catches, 37 yards, 1 touchdown for 13.4 points. Next week, 5 for 49 for 10 points. And then this last week against Detroit, 5 catches, 120 yards, and a touchdown. So definitely something you may want to pick up in deeper leagues.
Yeah, if you want to play matchups, you got Cole Beasley is probably available in a good chunk of leagues. He plays that atrocious Atlanta defense. And if he just lost Cooper Kupp, Josh Reynolds on the Rams, he's going to take his spot. I know how you feel about him, Skyler.
Butterfingers.
He's going to take his spot. He's going to be Cooper Kupp 2.0 for you guys.
No, he's not.
Not same production, but he's going to play the Cooper Kupp role.
Cooper Kupp catches the ball.
Well, speaking of Cooper Kupp, we'll be on the couch rushing football alongside with him this week. This episode was brought to you by Statement Games and SeatGiant.com. Go to Statement Games where you make the picks. It's free to sign up and get great rewards like gift cards to Starbucks. Skylar got a cigar last week. Just a whole plethora.
Oh, hey. Speaking of which, what are those promo codes, Skylar, for those gift cards?
Yeah, we need those
cigar?
promo codes.
That promo code, if you guys met who the first one to message me and wants that cigar, the promo code is going to be... What do you guys think it should be? I'll take it from you guys. What do you think it should be?
Chiefs over Rams.
Has to be short, okay?
Make it Cuban.
Cuban?
Cuban, yeah.
C-U-B-A-N, Cuban. That'll be the promo code. Send that. Tomorrow, let's say, so the podcast will drop tomorrow at 12, which you guys probably listen at this point, and just send us to the PTP podcast, and with the promo code, I'll send it to you.
First one to message us, we will let that be known to the Twitter sphere. We'll be in contact with you.
And it had to be over the age of being able to consume tobacco.
Please send a photocopy of your ID and driver's license, please.
So we know. Do we want to do the first person, or do we want to do a random?
First person.
I don't know. That just seems unfair. What people? Some people listen on Thursday. What if we do it at the end of the week and then just random?
Nope, first person. First come, first serve.
Well, think. The people who are interested in cigar already turned us off. Because they're getting ready to type in the word Cuban right now and send it to us. So they're not listening.
All right.
So we just isolated our audience.
We'll just do first person.
All right. Well, boys, it's been another phenomenal week. Austin, thank you so much for coming on.
No problem. But really quick, Donnie, we were talking a lot about fantasy football. I think people should follow you on Twitter because I believe you have a weekly stardom and sit-em article you post. Correct?
Unfortunately, I do. Yeah, it's been very hot or cold. At least they're funny, though.
I feel you.
Yeah, I do. I do waiver wire pickup articles every week, and then I do start and sit articles every week.
Really good waiver wire ones.
I do appreciate that. Thank you.
Give his articles a read, guys. Where can they find him at, Donnie?
At Donnie Druin.
On Twitter?
Yes, on Twitter.
Gotcha.
And then if you know me personally, add me on Facebook, but I don't post a lot on Facebook. So.
Also, I do fantasy football as well. Stardom, sit-em, sleepers at Burkhardt Skyler.
And I don't write about fantasy football.
But you are a real estate agent.
I am a real estate agent, yes. You can follow us at Frisoko Real Estate Team on Facebook.
All right, well, for the 4th time, boys, this has been a phenomenal week.
Hold on.
Oh, my God.
Hold on. You can't just stop tradition after you were saying something about tradition earlier.
It's true, I guess.
So, I believe Donnie
I'll take it. Yeah, I'll take it.
has the Danny Green Minute this week.
Yes, sir.
This week. Skylar, go ahead and tell him what the Danny Green Minute is.
The Danny Green Minute is where we take a minute out of our day at the end of the podcast to rant about whatever happened throughout the week, whether it be your girlfriend decide not to make you dinner one week, or if you're moving into a new apartment and the couch fell down the stairs. This is where the host of the show for the week gets to rant for 1 minute.
Typically, if one of us is really feeling it, then we'll go ahead and snatch it from the other.
Hey, I took it last time. I took it from Skyler about QBs.
You did?
Oh, yeah.
You did.
So, Donnie, you're on the clock.
I am, yeah. Does anybody have a timer for me? All right.
We're going to get that countdown, so mentally prepare
I think
yourself.
I got a couple of different things I want to read about.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, so I had no idea furniture shopping was so hard to do with your significant other. I'm at American Furniture Warehouse. Shout out to y'all because y'all were really helpful. And first of all, why is furniture so expensive? It's a 4 or 5 piece of couch I'm going to sit on for maybe 2 or 3 hours a day.
Only 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah. Why is that shit like $500, $600 for a cheap one? Not a good one, for a cheap one. Second of all, no one told me I had to go with my significant other to buy the furniture. Because apparently the stuff I want isn't good enough. Even though it's cheaper, it's not good enough. So I compromised with my girlfriend and got the one she wanted. So now I'm about $500 in the hole for a couch I didn't want to get. And now I have to sit on it for the next 9 months.
At the minimum.
Yeah, at the minimum, yeah. All right, thank you. It's been a minute.
So, if you're listening, Haley, Donnie loves you very much.
Oh, man.
But
Haley, if you're listening, send me the promo code SORRY, that's SORRY, for making me buy that couch.
Thank you guys for listening. Join us on the PTP Podcast on Twitter at the PTP Podcast. Email the PTP Podcast at gmail.com. Also on iTunes, Spreaker, all that good stuff. Again, you can follow Donnie Druin at
Donnie Druin.
And me at Burkhart Skyler. Give us a 5-star rating on iTunes. Like and rate us on Spreaker. We appreciate that. And share us with your friends. We want to share the craziness of shopping with your girlfriend with everyone.
Or the passionate hate that Austin has for the Rams.
That's right, yeah.
Oh, just because we beat you. All right.
Well, we'll beat you in the playoffs, so that would be the best laugh ever.
Ooh.
Shut up, Austin. Anyway, thank you for joining us.
He knows it.
Thank you for listening to Pile on the Podcast. Signing off, Skylar Burkhart.
Donnie Druin.
Austin Frizzoco.
Have a great one, guys.